Welcome back to the Federal Retirement Show. I'm your host, Val Majewski with American Benefits Exchange. Really appreciate you joining us to learn about the information that we're providing to you, the federal employee. And that's what this channel is all about, is providing information so you can make the best decisions for you and your family while you're working and as you enter into retirement. So today, we're going to talk about TSP because new limits have come out for 2025. So just so you can prepare, and 2024 is coming to an end. We are less than 2 months away until 2025. I can't believe it's gone this fast. But there are new changes that are going to happen with TSP. The IRS has come out and then updated some rules on 401ks, which TSP is the government version of a 401k. So we want to talk about what are those changes, what are the new limits, and some of the new things that they're adding when it comes to TSP contributions in 2025. First and foremost, your current limit for 2024, if you're putting into both the traditional and the Roth, your combined total is $23,000. In 2025, that is increasing by $500, and you're able to now contribute $23,500 total combined between the Roth, the traditional, or combination of both, right? So $23,500. Catch-up contribution limits, the normal catch-up contribution limit for those that are 50 or older will remain at $7,500. So you've got now $23,500, $7,500 for those that are 50 and older. Now it's up to $31,000 total that you can put into your TSP. But they've come out with this new thing that I'm going to call a super catch-up. And I think that's what the IRS is also calling it. TSP might be calling it something slightly different, but they have let's say a super catch-up for those that are age 60, 61, 62, and 63. You can contribute in catch-up not just $7,500, but up to $11,250 in your catch-up contribution between those ages. So 60, 61, 62, 63, you are now in this super catch-up age limit, and your increase to your catch-up, again, is not $7,500. You can put an additional $11,250 in per year during that time frame. After age 63, it does go back to the normal catch-up limits, which are currently $7,500. So just to recap that, contribution limits for TSP in 2025, the normal contribution amount will increase to $23,500. Catch-up contributions for those that are 50 and older, $7,500. The super catch-up for those that are age 60 to 63 increases to $11,250 during that time period. Afterward, again, goes back to $7,500. So we get asked a lot of times, should I max out my TSP? Should I put more into my TSP? What should I do? And these contribution limits help, right? They've been increasing gradually over time, so you can put more money towards your future. Now, why is this important? Why is learning about the contribution limits important for you? Because when I give trainings, when I talk to you and talk to individuals, I said TSP is your wild card. You may have heard me say this before in our previous episodes, but TSP is your wild card because this is the only part of your retirement income when it comes to your traditional 3 retirement income sources, your first pension, Social Security, or the first supplement, depending on when you retire, and then TSP. And of those 3 main sources, pension, Social Security, TSP is 100%, or let's call it 99%, reliant on you. The government does give you 1% automatic if you do nothing. So let's just call it 99+% reliant on you. You decide how much comes out. You decide how that money gets distributed into what funds, all your new contributions. You decide how that money gets invested into those funds, and you have to manage it yourself. You go into tsp.gov and make interfund transfers or change the way your new monies are spread out. You don't have a financial person at TSP. It is an administered account. It is not a managed account. So that's why it's a wild card. And what's the other reason is because it is going to carry generally the most weight in retirement. So pension, Social Security, they're only going to get you so far when it comes to your retirement income. If you want to get as much income as possible or try to get as close to your pre-retirement income in retirement, TSP will typically, at least in the thousands of individual federal employee benefits and retirement reviews that I've done in my career, TSP has to make up the most percentage when it comes to your retirement income to get you to your pre-retirement income. So I'll show you an example, right? Let's say you have 30 years of service as a FERS employee. And you can go back to our previous episodes and you can see how is your FERS pension calculated. But the short version of that is you're going to get 1% of your high three, about 1% of your high three for every year of service. So you work 30 years, you're going to get 30% of your high three. And your high three, let's just say that's around your pre-retirement income. You want to get close to that number. Well, now you're at 30%. So we've got to make up 70%. Social Security is generally going to pick up another 20 to 25%. So now best case scenario, you've got 30% plus 25, we're at 55%. 55%. Even if you wanted to get to 90% of your pre-retirement income, that's another 35% that you need TSP, your third income source, to pick up. If you want to get to 100%, that's 45% of your pre-retirement income that you're relying on TSP for. So it is a wild card in two things. You need to decide what you're putting into TSP. You need to manage it yourself, and it's generally going to carry the most amount of weight in retirement. So utilize what the government gives you when it comes to these contribution limits. I'm not saying you have to go to the full limit or you have to use the maximum catch-up, but understand that the more you put aside, the more you're going to have in the future. And your future self is going to love you for the amount of preparation that you've done for retirement by utilizing everything that the government gives you. The first thing in TSP that I'd recommend is the 5% matching, right? If you're not putting in at least 5%, in my opinion, I highly recommend you to do that. This, again, is my opinion. It's not a mandate, but I encourage you to look into it because there's no better type of money that I know of than free money. And the government wants to give you some free money. You can take advantage of it by putting in at least 5%. Above and beyond that, that's up to you. But you can go up to those limits and really maximize the amount of money that you're saving in your TSP so you have more in retirement. Now, some people also look at it and say, well, I put in the 5% and I don't want to keep all my money at risk and I want to look at other options outside of TSP for that money I want to put above and beyond the 5%. That's completely up to you. But just understand, if you want that money there in retirement, if you want to have your TSP carry the bulk of your retirement income and try to get you as close to your pre-retirement income in retirement, you need to take advantage of setting money aside for retirement. One of the ways you can do it is utilizing TSP and going up to some of these limits. Now, I certainly do not want you to live in the poorhouse today by putting too much money aside for your future. So there's a happy medium there of how much you can put aside and still live comfortably today, but also make sure that you've got enough to live comfortably into retirement. There is a middle ground, but just you need to look at those limits and decide how much you can put aside. Another question that we can ask when it comes to TSP, once you've decided how much you want to put in, people ask about the Roth portion of TSP because taxes have been a concern for federal employees in the future and people looking to have as much tax-free income in retirement as possible. And we've done episodes on that, on taxes in retirement or how to have more tax-free money. We talked about Roth conversions. I'd highly recommend you go back and try to find our episodes on Roth conversions. A lot of great stuff there. But you can help mitigate your taxes by putting into the Roth bucket. Now, this is not for everybody, but for people that want to put money in and pay the tax today, have that money grow, earn interest, and all the dollars that are in that Roth bucket come out tax-free in the end, this could be a good opportunity for you because you can go all the way up to the limit, even with that super catch-up, and put all of that money into the Roth bucket. So when you look at it, you can put now granted, I will say the agency matching money will go into the traditional. So you will still have a traditional portion of your TSP, but you can maximize the tax-free dollars that you're going to have in retirement because your pension and Social Security are going to be federally taxed at least. And depending on what state you live in, there may also be some state tax, but just understand you can maximize or try to set up more tax-free dollars by taking advantage of that Roth bucket. Let's say you do have the traditional bucket as well, and you said, you know what, I want to try to make that money be tax-free. Well, unfortunately, and I'm spoiling a little bit if you're going to go back and watch our Roth conversions video, but you cannot convert money within TSP. You have to move it out of TSP into a traditional IRA, and then you can convert it to a Roth IRA. And that money going forward will now be tax-free. You've prepaid Uncle Sam, you've prepaid the IRS, you've gotten them out of your pocket, and now you're building tax-free money with the interest that you're earning there. All those dollars are going to come out tax-free. So there are ways to take advantage, not just of the contribution limits within TSP and the updates that they're making and the increases, but you can also take advantage of the tax portion of TSP by deciding which bucket you want to put money into. And we get asked these questions all of the time when it comes to, how should I set up my TSP? What fund should I be in? What's the difference between traditional and Roth? Should I go up to the limits? I mean, all of this is a personal preference, so I can't give just a straightforward blanket advice. It's all personal preference, which requires a personal review to go over your situation and your desires and your goals that you want to hit, all of those things. So that's why we have the form for you to fill out on our website, www.federalretirementshow.com. You can fill out the form. One of our experts, if it's not me personally, will be reaching out to do a personal benefits review. If you want some additional information as far as our pamphlets on FEGLI, TSP, survivor benefits, you want a copy of the book that I wrote on federal benefits, you can request all of that through the website when you talk to one of our federal benefits experts once they follow up with you after your submission. So just utilize all the resources that we have. I said, check out the previous content that we've put out there, because this channel, this show, this podcast is for you, for the federal employees out there looking for information so they can make the best choices when it comes to their benefits and retirement situation. And it is important to get that individual review done, because what I'm talking about throughout this show, throughout the Federal Retirement Show, is very generic in nature. It's a high-level view. You may have specific questions. Your situation may have some unique features to it, and we want to review those with you, make sure you've got all the information you need to make the best decisions going forward. So thank you for learning today about the new contribution limits for TSP in 2025. Exciting stuff. You can put more money away for your future. Be sure to go back and look at our previous sessions. There's a lot of great content out there for you, and I look forward to seeing you on a future episode.